Questions from here. How do you act, or should one act, think when interacting or maintaining friendship with fellow Muslims with whom you have various differences of opinion, from fiqh to hadith to sheikhs? And when should you put those differences on the table? Ralia Abdullahi. Right, so I mean, I would just say it's the human kind of courtesy. You'd have a common sense to go about it. I'm sure you'd navigate it fine. Look, we'll never agree with people, right? We've got to understand that. We'll always have some differences. We'll have some preferences. We'll have some, and that's what. And we won't even agree with ourselves. So where I stand today, a few years from today, I may completely disagree with my tastes, my choices, my opinions in just a matter of a few years. So how do you think, so what do you think of other people then? So I think, I would say, look, don't worry about these things. And sometimes, it's interesting because I was reading up and thinking about this a little while back, that you see, friendships, if we're calling them friendships, the company, the preferred or a choice of being in the company of certain people. You see, we have this understanding that this can only be truly achieved or truly optimized through vocal communication. But really, I was thinking about it, that if you think about it, animals, they prefer the company of certain animals. I mean, they don't have speech. I mean, you could say there's other elements of communication, non-verbal communication, but it's not kind of constructive communication the way we can communicate. So because we have the ability to communicate, we sometimes feel that all things have to be communicated. And this is why we have the greatest miscommunication. So, and animals don't, despite their inability to communicate. So sometimes, like you could have a friend, let's say a particular friend or somebody you like being in the company of. You could just be in the company of that person and you just like being in the company. Like maybe you don't have to say much. Maybe you don't have to really be talking so much. I mean, you can be, but you don't have to be. Sometimes you can just like being in the company of certain people. And I think we've forgotten that, or many people have forgotten that they feel that because we are a species with the ability to communicate, that we must therefore be communicating. And if we're not communicating verbally, then something's wrong. But it isn't necessarily. I mean, sometimes, you could be with a mate and you could just be, I don't know, you could be just driving somewhere, let's say, and you could be going somewhere, or you could be just sat there, you're not talking much, maybe you're just doing something or just watching, but you enjoy the company. So I feel that this is an important lesson. It's way overlooked, I feel. And I feel that it causes also, not just in friendship, but in relationships, it causes a huge problem as well. So, just some food for thought, people. So basically, it doesn't mean it's a red flag. Because sometimes people feel if you're not communicating, it's a red flag. Something must be wrong. It doesn't have to be. And people, it's just creature communication. It's creature. At the end of the day, we are all just animals.